Hey everyone, it's Biggs. It's a beautiful sunny day here. As you can tell, it's still winter. I'm not home, but it's winter here. I'm in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and I got about a third of a day left while I wait for my flight. And I thought, I'm going to go check out the Forestry Farm Park and Zoo. Now, we're not going to check out the park because it's wintertime. There's nothing to see in the park. But this zoo opened in 1913, and it was originally a tree nursery. But it's a wonderful little zoo in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada that specializes in certain types of animals. Let's go take a peek. Well, as you can see, it's still winter time. It's an afternoon, mid-afternoon, on a weekday, so the zoo isn't very busy. You can see by the amount of snow on the ground, it is currently minus 16 degrees Celsius here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Just a slight breeze. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. So let's get inside and see what we can see. I already saw a little peek of some animals moving to my left there. Well, we're already in. Obviously no lineup, but the other thing unbeknownst to me is that the zoo is currently free. Now, most of the animals, a lot of the animals, not most, but a lot of the animals are off display due to weather. But you can see these two here are having no issues whatsoever with the weather. Now, this exhibit is part of two, and this exhibit is the Nutrient Ark, and it's a special exhibit which allows the zoo to house animals never seen before in Saskatoon. So currently on exhibit for this year is this trio, the three sisters, Nuna, Anori, and Anek, and they are Arctic wolves. Arctic wolves are a subspecies of the gray wolf, and they have some fantastic adaptations, including the ability to withstand the sub-zero temperatures and months of absolute darkness often experienced in their natural habitats. Now, before we head over to the other side of the Nutrient Ark, let's take a peek at the Infinity Learning Center, which is right beside the wolves. This is a beautiful little facility. It houses a lot of more specialized animals, and the people get up close and personal with them. Let's take a peek. The first enclosure we encounter is Heterodon narcissus, the western hognose. Now, it is a native species to this region. You see that beautiful little hole down there? That's probably where it's hiding. But the only issue is the fact that this is not a species that would generally ever be out in the open. It's definitely buried underneath that substrate and would emerge at night. So probably not the best animal for display purposes, but it still is a fascinating animal nonetheless. Then they have a fairly large, probably about 100-gallon or so, cichlid aquarium. And mostly mbunas. There is a electric yellow and some Copodochromis candango. Most of the names are correct. There's that beautiful Borlei candango. But the fact that it's a nice, healthy-looking aquarium, fairly well suited for the fish in question, all done. The next one up we have here, I believe, is a Hermann's tortoise. And it's got some nice plants. There's the tortoise right down there, buried deep in the mulch. It's got a little fogging unit up in the corner to raise the humidity a little bit. Overall, this is a beautiful little enclosure. It's not little. It's probably 4 feet by 4 feet. And then we've got a next enclosure. This is a real neat enclosure for Japanese fire-bellied toads. Look at that pothos just running rampant in the water. There's one of the toads right up front there. But if there's one, there's probably several, because this enclosure this size could probably house 6 to 8 easily. But that pothos makes it look really sharp. And then on the other side, we have a beautiful enclosure for an axolotl. It's a fairly large axolotl. It's about a foot long in size. And then beside it, we have a ball python. Now, until recently, ball pythons, they're members of the family Pythonidae, Boidae. These were all illegal to own or possess in the province. But recently, the bylaws have changed slightly, and this is one of the species that you can now keep as a pet. And then the next enclosure is a beautiful cloud forest, and it truly is a cloud forest. And this houses a large group of Dendrobates poison arrow frogs. You can see those beautiful blue little frogs in there. There was another species I did see as well. Let's see if I've got some better footage. Perhaps not the easiest to see through all that fog and mist, but this is the type of habitat these animals absolutely love. Here's one of the little blue guys, Dendrobates azure. These types of frogs are fairly delicate to keep. And even though their name says they're poison arrow frogs, they are not poisonous in captivity because the poison is derived from their prey source that they would have in the wild. And this is a beautiful blue-tongue skink coming from Asia and Australia. There's many subspecies. I'm definitely not a skink expert. Definitely wouldn't be coming from an area with the cactus portrayed, but it is a very large, substantial enclosure. Lots of room for this animal to move around. Very beautiful enclosure. And that's it for the Learning Center. Now, as I mentioned earlier, many of the animals have been taken off exhibit temporarily while either new housing is made or improvements to their enclosures are made, or they're animals that just can't tolerate the entire winter outside. But this girl sure can, and this is Cassie. Cassie is the resident snow leopard, and she is the other half of the Nutrient Ark roving exhibit. And she is exceptional. Look at her being just a big kitty. Doing the same as a normal house cat would do, just on a much larger scale. Somebody want to tell her that maybe she should put away her fall Halloween decorations? Ain't gonna be me. Oh, here she comes. Hopefully we get a peek at these gigantic paws. Snow leopards have such massive paws, they actually act like snowshoes in the deep snow in the areas where they inhabit in Tibet and Nepal. And that monstrous tail, which is often the length or longer than the body, helps them with their balance. Look at the size of those paws. Such an impressive animal. Well, thank you, Cassie, for showing us how beautiful you truly are. But let's continue on. Now, the one thing I do remember the most about this particular zoo, even though it's small, is they had probably one of the most impressive collections of ungulates. And ungulates are hooved mammals. Now, there's different types of ungulates, but the even-toed ungulates, such as camels and deers and those type of animals, that's where all these animals fall in. All the different types of deer, like these fallow deer that are here, elk, moose, goats, all those type of things all have that same type of foot. It's a shame the butterfly exhibit wasn't open. Seems perfect outside for butterflies. Just look at it. But we'll continue on. Continuing along, the next enclosure is an exceptionally large enclosure, and it houses elk. You saw those horns that were mounted up on the fence there? Right back there? Those are actually the horns from the male, and they removed them not only for the safety of the animal handlers, but also for the animals themselves. Now, if you don't know what an elk is, picture a large deer and make it about 10 times larger. They're almost the same sort of size, body size, as, say, a moose. There's the herd of elk, about halfway down the enclosure. It's a one large buck, and I believe 4 females. And they are truly impressive to see. And it might be challenging because there is a fair bit of shadows under the trees, but you'll be able to tell that his horns have been removed. There you go. There he is, showing off for the camera. Even just wandering around in the zoo, it appears they have an escapee. Next up is a little group of mountain goats. These guys absolutely love this weather. If you were to drive one province over to the west, you would see these as you go through the Rocky Mountains. It seems they can climb a sheer vertical wall. Very, very impressive animals to see. Oh, it's a shame. There's no free-ranging children out today. I guess they're taking off exhibit as well. Maybe next time. Well, the next two, this pair of bald eagles, totally impressive. Their names are Dawson and Juno, and they came to the zoo as rescues, and they needed rehabilitation. One of them had damage to its eye, and the other one had damage to its wing. And both injuries made it that these animals could not be released again, so they will be lifetime residents of this zoo. Now this next enclosure, we got to be very quiet. This is Coda and Mistaya, and they're the resident grizzly bears. And they're in hibernation right now. And they are also two animals that came in on rescue, like many of the animals at the Forestry Farm Park Zoo. They'll wake up soon. We'll see them next time.
Well, it was a nice little visit. Maybe we didn't see as many animals as we expected to see, but the animals we did see are animals that you probably would never ever generally ever see in the wild, and you probably won't see them in most zoos that are in warmer climates. So I thought that was a win. I had a lot of fun. Any day outside, getting some fresh air and the beautiful sunshine's worth it. So if you guys are ever in the city of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, you might just have a stopover. From the airport to this zoo is probably only about 15 minutes, and you could probably do the whole zoo in less than an hour. It's just a wonderful little trip. It's a beautiful zoo. The Forestry Farm Park. Thanks, guys. Till next time, take care.